again, Zach from Dirty Sexy Words, to talk to you about Femdom in Fiction. Right, little potted history. Oh, and if you're wondering about the badges, if you can't read them on your screen, which is the sort of thing that would drive me absolutely nuts, I have to say, I'll tell you what they say. This one says, Mr. Grey is a lousy lay. I don't need to spell that out, do I? And this one says, feminists have better sex. Because we do. Because we know about consent and communication, and we don't take no shit, if you know what I mean. Or we try not to. Everything can go the way you don't want it to from time to time. But let's not get off topic. I'm going to talk about Femdom Fiction, and whether it's all fantasy or how much of it is based on personal experience. Really, the answer to that is it depends. Some authors like to write about stuff they would like to do, but don't know how to do it, or are not in circumstances where they could do it, haven't got the right playmates, haven't whatever. But a lot of it does tend to be based on experience, including the daddy, or should that be the mistress of them all, Venus in Furs. It's quite widely known now that Chummy here, Sacha Masoch, who gave us the word masochist, apparently, it was his thing. He was obsessed all his life with finding the perfect cruel goddess. Now, I don't know how many of you have read this. Not everyone has. It's one of those books that's probably more talked about than read. I have read it. I'm quite fond of it. It's very, very intense and very sort of hallucinogenically obsessive stuff that is often what you get in really good erotic writing. Really sort of takes you away to other places. There is, or was, an absolutely wonderful edition of this book with illustrations by Sardax, the guy who draws all these marvellous pictures of dominant women. I'm currently hunting for that one to see if I can source some more copies and bring it back into stock. I'll update you on that somewhere on one of my social media channels. You know, you can always find me on Twitter at Dirty Sexy World, or the Facebook page, Facebook Dirty Sexy Words, or, you know, kicking around on here on the YouTube channel, DSW Books, or when we're all allowed to mingle again at the Lamb. Come and talk to me about books anytime you like. I used to have a lot of conversations with people about femdom erotic fiction, which invariably consisted of someone coming up to me and saying, have you got any femdom? And me going, no, the publishers say there's no call for it. And then the next day I would get on to a publisher and go, look, I've had another person asking for femdom fiction. And the publishers go, there's no call for it. Yes, well, there was always some kicking around in the glory days of the 90s, when there was the first explosion in commercial erotic fiction. It was nearly all femsub. I remember struggling to sneak a little bit of a switchy scene into a book that I published in 1996. Don't go and look for his crap. But it was a very fem-subby book, but I managed one scene where the tables were turned, just one. And that was not based on personal experience. Anyway, another book that I have in stock, which I like and would recommend, is Bittersweet by Fiona Mack. Now, this lady is someone I've met a couple of times. She is thoroughly into the lifestyle and has been for nearly as long as I have. And the book is a fictionalised version of her life, you know, to protect the innocent and the not so innocent, and a really good in-depth personal journey of a dominant woman. So that is one well worth looking out for. Another author who kind of cornered the market around the turn of the century in, you know, loving, passionate femdom erotic fiction is Alex Jourdain, who wrote a series of novels about dominant women and their happy subs, Enslaved by the Mistress, Mistress of Torment, lots of others. Haven't got any in stock at the moment, but I'm hopefully going to get some back soon. And the author, who I did encounter at one point, yep, lifestyle sub, with a much loved dominant woman. Or that was the impression I gained. You know, I'm not breaking anybody's confidences here, but yeah, if you read the books, this is somebody who knows what they're talking about, cares about what they're talking about. And I'm going to basically blow my own trumpet here, because there's no other bugger to do it for me, what with being in isolation and so on. This is my book, Black Heart, which is a femdom pansexual romance. That's what it says on the back. It is, how much of it is based on things I've done? Some of it, okay? Some of it. I did base one bit on my own first trip to a fetish club, but not exactly. You know, names changed to protect those who don't deserve or wouldn't like to be immortalised in my deathless prose. I was asked to write this. I was actually commissioned, don't get much of that now, post the you-know-what books and the relaunching of an imprint of erotica. And the editor said, about time you got on with that femdom epic. And I was like, no, I've retired. Oh, all right then. And this was the result. I'm losing my train of thought here because the sun's coming in through the window and I want to be in the garden with a cold drink. But duty calls. I'm just going to slip into something a little more comfortable, because that's a better position for reading naughty stories in. And you can go and wash your hands again, grab a drink, chill out, and I'll read you a naughty story.